Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. So this is going to be hopefully a regular thing, and the idea really is that we are sharing some things, some issues, some topics that have cropped up over the week, and the idea is to share these ideas with you. And while we won't be sharing sensitive information like names and all of that stuff, we're really just we're picking out things that we think will be relevant to many other people in this country particularly, and we're just talking them through, and we're trying to educate, we're trying to share, we're trying to encourage you. So something that first on our list is something that has come up this week that we think more people should be talking about really is it was someone who's a new client or prospective new client, and they're about 5 years roughly away from retirement, and they're just wanting to know some of the things that they can be prepared for coming into retirement. And what is you're the financial advisor, what is your response to someone who is just retirement is on the horizon, it's looking a little bit overwhelming? How can you prepare them?
Well, I often get quite touchy-feely, and I like to say to people, what do they, not physically, but emotionally, and I like to say, right, what does it look like? What does retirement look like? Where do you want to be? Are you and your spouse retiring at the same time? And really get them to imagine it. And if they can't do that, I often say, what don't you want retirement to be like? And that triggers off some thoughts that they really start planning on how they want to be living their lives. And so once we've got the really into the nitty gritty of their feelings and what they want to do in their retirement, I straight away go and look at budget. That's probably the first step, and we sort of look at what their income is now, what some of the expenses that would fall away, what some of the expenses that they might add to that. Rounds of golf, or shopping trips with your coffees with your friends, holidays, these things that might be more. But we look at the budget. That's sort of step number one. And then one of the things that is really important is, especially pre-retirement, is to work very hard at getting rid of your debt. You don't want to have debts in retirement. That's just going to be a shackle for you, and it won't help your financial planning. So that's probably the answer. One of the things is to look at debt and sort of manage it so that it can come to an end pre-retirement. Some people use their retirement funds to pay off debt. That's not great. You want to try and get that debt paid off before you get to retirement, and that might mean delaying retirement slightly. That's not a problem. It's everyone's different, but it's something that's very important to make your money work for you.
What about drawdown?
Yeah, so that's probably, I should have said that's number one, but no, it's not number one. It's one of the things we talk about. It's definitely part of it, and it's what a drawdown is how much money you're going to be using per month within your retirement. So we like to use the 4% rule. Is amazing. Not everyone can do that. 5%, we manage it well. That can work. 6, 7, 8, it's getting a little bit. 6 not so bad. 7 and 8, it's getting a bit tough. So basically, what that means. And
just to clarify, when it gets to 6, 7, and 8, does that mean that you are eating too much into your capital? Have I got that right?
Exactly. You're not just using the interest or the growth. You're now actually using the capital. And someone described it really nicely to me. They said, if you had an orchard, an apple orchard, and what you were doing is you were picking off all the apples and selling the apples and living off the money that you earned from the apples. And all of a sudden it wasn't enough. So what you did is you cut down a tree and you sold it for firewood, to get some more money. What it means the next year, you would have less trees because you cut less trees to produce apples because you cut them down. And
just to interject, does the 4% rule kind of mean in most cases that your capital is intact, and therefore your capital will outlive you?
Not necessarily outlive you. Could do. Nobody knows when you're going to die, so it could do. However, we just look at, we try and work it out on a 30-year time horizon. Okay. So if you're retired 65 to 95, it sort of gets us all. People are living longer, so it really makes the 4% rule more important. And so yeah, that's what we use.
Moral
the 4%
of the story: don't be too healthy.
Yeah, eat those burgers. Might be your best financial plan.
Don't take advice from us. Okay.
So yeah, so the drawdowns it's a good number, and you always need to be coached on how that is, and we look at it every single year with every client to see whether they should increase their income, if they can manage to keep it the same, or if they've managed to save within their income.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about if there's a spouse involved? I guess it gets more complicated then, doesn't it, if one person is retiring before the other?
Yeah, so that sort of goes with our question to where you want to be. So, and often it happens. I had one of my favorite clients. They retired. They both retired, and the wife ended up going back to work, which is lovely. They're really lovely people. But it is, it does happen sometimes. One is retired and the other person is back at work, and it's just about making your life what you want it to be. So if that does happen, you make a plan. I think another important thing, especially with the people that I deal with, is a lot of them are self-employed. And what do you do if you're self-employed and you're looking at retirement? There's some good points to point out. Would be making sure that your business, if you want to sell it, making sure that it looks profitable, and that doesn't take 1 year to do. That takes a couple of years to pull out. And you sit down with your accountant, and you basically probably draw less. Have less personal stuff going through your business, which of course we never do, but that sort of stuff to try and make your business look as profitable as possible, so that someone buying it would pay more for that business.
Presuming your business is sellable in the first place, but that's a whole other.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Another thing is if it's not sellable and it's maybe a family business, is to upskill your spouse. So that they can do a little bit of work within the business through retirement, and sharing your income, having it in two different people, getting that income reduces your tax bracket. And probably one of the really important things when you're in retirement is tax. That's the tax planning is quite immense and really important, and it's really simple. If you sit down and just look at the three, your tax threshold, your capital gains that you can earn for the year, and the interest that you can earn tax free, those are the things that you've got to work on. Where you're drawing your income from, where you invest it, and so it can be complicated, but I really want to encourage people to say these things are simple, and you can nail it just by spending some time speaking to someone and just getting some good advice.
Yeah, it's just about asking the right questions and working through it.
Yeah.
Okay, was that everything in that little nutshell?
Yeah, probably with regards to that.
Okay. Another thing that came up in the week, obviously, with our current, with all the elections that we've just been through, and government-wise, excuse my lack of fancy words there, but with the coalition plans sort of coming into play, how will this affect one's investment? So we had a question from someone who was talking about de-risking. Is that the right word? Yeah. Hundreds. Okay. Talk more through this, please.
Yeah. So a question from someone. Should he de-risk his portfolio because of this turbulent times that he sees us in? And the answer is 100% no. You need to be in the market to receive a return. There will be negative, tough times. I sort of, with every long-term investor that I deal with, and you've heard me say it many times, I guarantee you it will be negative at some point, because it will. That's 100% the truth. The markets will crash. We don't know when, and the point is to be in that market for as long as possible, and not try and say, well, I'm going to pull out and invest everything in cash for the moment, and then go back into the market when the coalition deal has been set in place. You just erode value, and a lovely thing there is an investment's like a bar of soap. The more you touch it, the smaller it gets. And so have a good plan in place. Not to say you don't make any changes, but often changes aren't always the best thing. Put a good plan in place and see it through that time horizon of that investment.
It's about time in the market, not timing the market. Right?
Oh, perfect. Absolutely.
Good student. Okay, was that everything to do with that?
Yeah,
that's
sorted.
So something that comes up pretty much every week, we can pretty much guarantee someone is going to ask about this, is tax-free investments. Now, please remind us, David Wisdom, why tax-free investments are the bomb diggity, why they are the absolute best. Go.
Yeah, they are the best, absolutely. So there's 3 taxes you don't pay within your tax-free savings account. It is no dividends tax on the dividends earned. There's no interest tax on the interest earned. And when you take that money out of your tax-free savings account one day, it is tax-free. And remember, I say your tax-free savings account is you'll never touch money. It means that the benefits are there the longer it's there. It really is one of your best investments. And I'm going to take the opportunity to ask you, what's the maximum you can contribute per year?
36,000 Rand per year, 500,000 Rand lifetime limit.
Absolutely, that's it. So if we do the maths, I think it's about 12 or 13 years until you reach that limit. But it is the very best investment. You can put inside your tax-free savings account whatever you want. You're not.
So these things really shine when you are particularly giving them a long time frame for that compound interest to compound, right? So if you have kids, young kids, and you're looking for the perfect investment to get them started in, if you want to make your kid a millionaire, which again is a whole other topic of conversation for another time, then do a tax-free savings investment for your kid or kids, many kids, one each, and then don't tell them about it and don't let them spend it until they're way older. But again, that's your decision.
But that's it. Yeah, tax-free savings account.
And they're very simple to set up. So some of the platforms that you can do these things to, if you want to do it yourself, if you want to DIY it, are Easy Equities.
Yep,
that's a good one. Signia.
Alan Gray do it. There's everyone might have a different rule, and we're not going to get too complicated here, but with Alan Gray you can have a beneficiary. However, you can't be 100% offshore yet. There's some limits that are there. Okay. However, with Signia and Easy Equities, you don't have a beneficiary. However, you can have it 100% offshore. Which I think is where you want to be, considering your retirement annuity is probably South African, your business is South African, your home is South African.
So it's about
you've got to have some offshore exposure.
Now, what about a tax-free savings account through the bank?
So you've got to be cautious here because you don't want to be putting cash inside your tax-free savings account.
It defeats the purpose because it's a long-term investment, right?
100%. Yeah, that's it. You need to. This has to be a long-term investment, tax-free savings account. And my suggestion is that for most people, not everybody, but most people need to be putting equities in there. Offshore equities is probably the best one. Possibly.
Depends on your circumstances.
Depends on your circumstances. And so that's when you do it at the bank, just make sure that you see what's inside there, because some banks do have possibility of putting equities inside that tax-free savings account, and I think that's very important.
Okay. That is all from us this week. If investing, the basics of investing is something that you feel you need to upskill yourself in and know more about, well, guess what? We, at the moment, have some free information for you. We have a free short course, a crash course, essentially, on the basics of investing, and you will see that link down below, so you can click on that and get yourself educated on that. If you are needing some help with your portfolio, if there's some personal finance questions that are burning in your brain right now and you want to talk to David, you can also find a link below to the calendar, and we will fit you in with the consultation, or we can book a discovery call and just see if we're the right fit for you, or if you want to take things further, then we can work with you on that. So let us know if you need any help. We would love to help you. That's all from us, and we'll see you next week.